Sitaram, good morning and welcome again to part two in this program. This morning we are speaking about women, alcohol, and drugs, and the challenges that some of our sisters in Trinidad and Tobago and worldwide will face when they have to deal with this problem of alcoholism, alcohol or chemical dependence. And just to remind you, this program is being recorded and will be presented again on this same media house, radio and TV Jagriti at 10 p.m. tonight. It will also be posted on YouTube and Facebook. So those of you who are unable to stay for the program in its entirety, you might be able to uh, secure a link and look at it then at your own convenience or send it to someone who you believe may benefit from this program. We have been speaking about the stigma associated with alcohol and drug dependence, especially for women seeking help with their problem. And one of the issues is here that, a lot of women, they don't want to be seen as a bad mother. Not only alcoholic women, but all women who have children. They don't want to be seen as a bad mother. And one of the first thing is if you're drinking, they know society are going to level that label on you so that they don't want to see you as a irresponsible woman. Their own sisters, sibling, relatives, well, let alone mother-in-law. If you heard daughter-in-law and drinking, you know what will happen. So that, and then again, as I mentioned it previously, women know that the husbands and they don't have that support so that they can leave their family and go to seek help. And in Trinidad, in particular, and Tobago, we do not really have backup services that could provide, for women who go to treatment centers. A lot of times we would have had to depend on the extended family or some other aunt or someone. But if you look at the nature of alcoholism and drug addiction, the sociology of it is different. If a woman gets sick with some other disease, even neighbors will run to help her, cook something and send it for her and the children or things like that. If she was sick with something else, got some other illness. But if you are sick from drinking, by the time people notice because you are trying to hide it, and you will not get that kind of support. All you will get is scorn will be heaped on you by even people who are supposed to care and understand. Everybody is going to turn on you, and you can't look forward to getting that kind of help. Very rare. I must say that there are a few people around there who, in spite of, especially mothers, but they stick with their children, girls or boys up to the end. Fathers would like to help, but a lot of times their method, they tend to be rough and choose the tough love situation more. And they too can become a barrier sometimes to a person admitting or accepting because they don't want, they know how the father will think about them or the husband will think about them. So that the other barrier is that I have worked in treatment facilities, and okay, while I was director of the Piparo Empowerment Center, we never housed women there because I know when you have men and women who are addicted to substances in the same environment, there are additional challenges now for the staff at treatment facilities because they are always getting into relationships. The addicted men, drug addicted men, they unfortunately tend to look down on the women and treat them as objects because there's a reason for that. And this is an adult subject, but I have to speak about it because women who have become addicted to cocaine, for instance, or some of the harder drugs, they very often have to resort to prostituting themselves. in order to support their habit. And as a result, the addicted men who engage the services of these women, they have no respect for them. They treat them as though they are inanimate objects. And so later on in treatment facilities, they have a tendency to look down, and the women are aware of this. And then there are some women, I must say, who also play games in the treatment facilities because they enjoy the attention they're getting now. You know, they have stopped using and they're looking better, and there's so many men and just so few of them in these treatment facilities, so they get a lot of attention because these men are away from their home, away from their families, and it is very easy for people in treatment facilities, men and women, to get into extramarital affairs and so on, or break the rules and all of that. And that in itself distracts them from what they came there for, from their main reason for being there. They get involved in all kinds of other playing games, indiscriminate activities and so on. So that it detracts from the whole community goes into array because who is not involved, they are becoming spectators and they cover for each other and the staff is in a mess because rather than dealing with therapeutic issues, now you're dealing with these other social issues. So that it is for this reason a lot of programs do not even cater to women. They only treat men. And like Piparo, where the drug abuse center there, which is unfair. As a result, in Trinidad and Tobago, there was, and I still think there is a shortage of resources for women who wish to seek help. As I say this, let me at this point do announce that we do have some programs. We have the New Life Ministries that has set up a treatment facility for women in Santa Flora. There's also Serenity Place, which is a treatment facility in Cochrane Village, Point Fortin, that is run by a good colleague of mine. She was on the program not too long ago. And it is for women, but it is not nearly enough. There used to be a few beds at Cora Hospital, but they discontinued that because of the logistics of the problems I referred to, because it was a men and women program, co-ed program. And the women and men were getting, into all kinds of unnecessary relationships at that point, and that distracted from the whole program and took so much attention away from the staff. So that treatment facilities, even those that are set up for women, they need to be up to par because women tend to have additional issues. They suffer sometimes with depression, with anxiety, with bipolar conditions, a lot of things. Comorbidity, as we call it in psychiatry, that needs additional professional attention. And if they are not able to get that, there is a high risk of relapse when they are discharged from the program because they have to. Some programs do not have adequate follow-up as well, because even though you may put a person in a treatment facility for a period of 6 weeks or 3 months, they are able to stay sober there because it's a safe environment, because there's not the availability of the drug is restricted there. Although some people find ways to get it in and break the rules, but generally it is not available. And one of the main reasons anyone uses any drug is availability. But as soon as they get out of there, sometimes in recovery circles, we call it pajama sobriety. While you're in the center, you're clean. As soon as you get out there, you go back and relapse. Especially there are underlying psychiatric issues that were not adequately dealt with or catered to in the follow-up program. So that is something that treatment facilities need to pay attention to. Now, in Trinidad and in other places in the world as well, I know that there's always the fear. Women have this fear, especially in North America, in Canada, and so on. If you go for treatment, you can lose custody of your children because you will be labeling yourself as a drug addict, or you may also get diagnosed with these co-alcoholic syndromes, these um, additional mental disorders, and so on. And this could disqualify you from continuing to have your children or to even have your children when you get back out of treatment. So that a lot of women, they don't want to lose their family and the children. And as a result, they bite the bullet, as we say, and they try to do this on their own secretly and so on, and keep failing all the time. Now, as I said, there are co-occurring mental disorders that needs to be attended. The other is that, women generally, well, in Trinidad, historically, the men were the breadwinner and they were providing financially and all of that. And as a result, they make the decisions. They are the head of the household. And the church and the religious bodies support that position, where the husband is the head of the household, you know. And for him to admit that his wife is an alcoholic or drug addict, that is very demeaning for him and his family, and even the extended family will resist that kind of labeling. But she's unable now to because she is if she has been unemployed, dependent on the husband, a man may be able to still, if he can afford it, go privately, you know, and seek treatment, see professionals like myself privately in confidence and get help for the addiction. But the woman is not able to do that because she's not financially able. And she will resist unto the death sometimes of going to a public institution for help. Then, as I mentioned before, even if you agree begrudgingly or whatever under duress to go to a public institution, there are not sufficient public institutions, especially catering for women. There are no bed spaces. And well, not only women, in Trinidad, we have a long waiting list even for men who agree to go for help at the public institutions. Coro in particular, there's a long waiting list. Yeah, and having worked in the field of substance abuse, being a person in recovery myself, I can tell you, when an alcoholic or a drug addict agrees to go for help, it is critical. That don't happen every day. It's like a blue moon, as we say. He will agree, well, okay, I'm going to do something. But if you do not have the resources available when he begrudgingly agrees, then you would have probably signed his death warrant because he may never. In fact, he would be happy that, well, look, okay, I agreed to go, but they say they don't have space. And he will use that to continue to drink, and the society will lose that person to death or mental illness or imprisonment. So that it is very important. Now, I must say in Trinidad, by comparison, having worked in other Caribbean countries and so on, we still have a lot more resources than most of other countries in the world. And I'm not, because we have the highest amount of AA groups per capita than any other country in the world. We have NA groups. We have now AA meetings online. We have several non-governmental organizations who are providing the service for literally, I mean, very, very, very inexpensive, most of them. And we also have professionals like myself out there who are accessible for people who want to deal with the problem in a less open and public manner. We also have all of this material that every week has been posted on YouTube that anyone wishing to can just type in my name and addiction and recovery, and you'll see all the programs there on YouTube. about every aspect of alcoholism and drug addiction that I am aware of in my experience over 40 years in this. I've been doing these radio and TV programs for the last 33 years in other media houses and with radio and TV Jagriti almost from the inception on a weekly basis. And I'm open if anyone wishes to. You have the numbers available on the screen, 671-3040, that you can call after the program. Or you can text me at 7685925, and I will be happy to answer and respond to any questions, queries, so that really even women do not have an excuse, because if you call me, you can talk to me in confidence. I, as a professional, am bound by the ethics of the profession to keep whatever you say confidential. And I can't even tell your mother or your father or your husband or your employer or anything that you reveal to me without your permission. So it is a very safe um, medium where anyone listening to this program can get help. All you have to do, I'm giving you all the various options. If you are in North or Central Trinidad, well, of course, the treatment facilities, you have the Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Center at Coro Hospital, where you don't have to pay any money. You just go there on a Thursday, reach there for 8 o'clock. You will be seen by a professional. They will open a file if you've never been there before, and you will be assessed, and they will get you into some program. Either if you can't get into the inpatient program, they have an outpatient program. There is also, if you're in South and Coro is too far, there's a clinic every Monday at the chest clinic of the San Fernando General Hospital, which is near the Naparima Bowl on the hill. You can go there and you can get an assessment done, and you can also get into the program. And if needs be, they will refer you to Cora or wherever if they think it is necessary for you to be hospitalized. Because sometimes people who use drugs for a long time, when they stop or they decide to stop, when they stop using it, they go through withdrawal, and very often they need professional help and support during that time. And hospital care is indicated very often in such instances. So there are these clinics there. And then, as I mentioned before, there are many non-governmental organizations, as in New Life Ministries at Mount St. Benedict, that has an in-house program. They also have a program for women in the South at Santa Flora. Then there is the one in Point Fortin. The administrator there is Beverly Mawson. That is a center for women, the Serenity Place. And then there's Rebirth House in Port of Spain that has their office on Charlotte Street. It used to be, I think. I don't know if it's still there, but they have their treatment facility down at Carenage, and they are also doing a lot of good work. There's the Heal House at Milton Village in Prisal that also offers in-house treatment facilities for alcoholics and drug addicts. And then we have meetings online that is facilitated by several the intergroups in Trinidad and Tobago and other voluntary groups. There's the Circle of Reflection online AA group that has meetings every night at 7 o'clock. Anyone wishing to join that meeting, you can join out of curiosity if you think you have a problem with alcohol or drugs. And if you, after a meeting or two, if you realize, well, no, you're not an alcoholic or drug addict, it is not making any sense. Of course, you're not under any pressure to continue to attend. But I have noticed, I have attended that meeting, and I know that a lot of women are now accessing treatment via the internet. There's a lot of alcoholics young girls, young women who have done very well, some of them years sober now, by attending online meetings. Because I know from experience that a lot of women have been very, very reluctant to go to the physical meetings because they don't want anybody to see them. They don't want the village or the community to know that they are going to AA meetings in the community. Because in our small communities, it is difficult to keep things secret. Once you go to an AA meeting, by next morning, I think the whole place knows. That's the headline, hey, I see him going in the school. And they know what's happening in the school on a Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. There's an AA meeting there. Or at the Presbyterian school on a Saturday night or a Monday night at 7 o'clock, they see you going in there. They know. And I'm not saying this to scare people away, because listen, alcoholism is a disease, just like any other disease. And nobody should feel ashamed to admit that, look, I have a disease. It's not my fault. And while it may not be your fault because you could have inherited it from your ancestors, once you become aware that you have this condition, this disease, alcoholism or drug addiction, it becomes your responsibility now to do something about it. And I'm saying this morning, very in all earnestness to you, you know, I know our sisters, they are under a lot of pressure with managing the house and the money and having to work and the children and the school and seeing about your husband and all of that. It's a lot of stress, and a lot of people turn to using sometimes prescription pills to help them to cope and then become addicted to that. And then, because we are drinking culture, they get introduced to drinking and they get you hooked up to that. And now it's difficult for them to seek help. I want to let you know that there is hope. There is hope if you think or you suspect you probably becoming addicted to any pills, any alcohol or drugs. There is hope. You can call me. I will direct you as to where you can get help. Even if you don't think you're an alcoholic, you can still find out, because it's better, prevention is better than cure. Because there are some people, because of the nature of this alcoholism and drug addiction, it is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And you could cross that, you see, and there's a lot of misconceptions, and I will be speaking about that in the future, where a lot of people think you have to be a vagrant to be an alcoholic. No, alcoholism doesn't depend on how much you drink or how often you drink. What determines whether you're an alcoholic is when you take that first drink. If after you take that first drink, there's a craving for another, then you're an alcoholic. You need to do something about it. So I know that our time is drawing near to finish. I want to let you all know that I want to thank the Radio and TV Jagriti, the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, for giving this free airtime every week as a public service to air this program. I also want to thank the operators at the station there, Mr. Kalu and Ramdhani and all of them for sourcing really good video material as a lead up to the program. And I want to thank you all who have been sending in your comments and encouraging me to continue to do this program. I feel very, very, if in my life I could help one person to come off alcohol and drugs, because I was there, I did that, I've done it, I know what it is like. I feel my own life would be justified. So I'm always willing and ready to help anyone or any organization that wishes for me to come and speak to their audiences on this subject matter. I look forward to that. So I want to thank you again for listening. And remember, this program is going to be posted on YouTube and Facebook, and you could go back and listen to it, or you could sit with your family and listen to it and have a discussion. And if there are questions you have, you can call me at any time, well, reasonable hours, or text the number on your screen, and I'll respond to you. So thank you again. Until next week, Thursday. Have a good week and take care of yourselves. Goodbye.